The story of the Nigerian girl child is no longer one of silence. It is a story of capacity, inner strength, resilience, courage, and leadership. She is not the future. She is the now, leading change, driving innovation, and turning moments of crisis into opportunities for protection and growth. Across Nigeria, girls have proven that leadership has no age and resilience has no limit. From Amara Unwuneli, winner of the 2025 Earth Prize for Environmental Innovation, having transformed a landfill in Lagos into a safe playground using recycled tires, to Mary Victor Zira, who is rebuilding hope for displaced children through education in conflict-affected areas of Borno State, as well as Akachukwu Blessed Nwachukwu and Ifnaya Gabriela Okoye, who both founded local tech hubs to teach girls coding and digital creativity. These young change makers are redefining what it means to lead, and we are celebrating them all, including unknown names working silently in their communities. Going forward, the International Day of the Girl Child, marked annually on October 11, is a key global moment during which we celebrate girls everywhere, amplifying their voices, actions, and leadership. It is a day that belongs to everyone who cares about girls and their rights. However, being a girl shouldn't determine what you can do, where you can go, or who you can become. But right now, that's the reality for millions of girls across the world. Too many are being left behind, confronted by extreme challenges that deny girls the right, restrict their choices, and limit their futures. Despite the progress made in adolescent girls' lives over the past 30 years, the rights are still being violated in places all over the world, with the most populated black nation, Nigeria, not exempted. This episode of the program Beyond Parliamentarians therefore recognizes and advocates the full spectrum of girls' rights, especially as it concerns the legislative arm of government. This year's theme, as shaped by girl-led organizations and networks, is The Girl I Am, the Change I Lead, Girls on the Front Lines of Crisis. I welcome you to another inspiring episode of the program. I'm Joshua Okwete, your host. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. All over the world, girls are stepping up to meet today's biggest challenges. They're organizing in their communities, fighting for climate justice, and demanding an end to violence. Girls are asking to be seen not only for the challenges they face, but for who they are and the solutions they bring. Yet, too often their voices go unheard, their actions ignored, their needs and rights pushed aside. As the world marks 30 years since the Beijing Declaration, the world's blueprint for gender equality, International Day of Girl Child, is a rallying cry to see girls for their limitless potential. Joining me to explore this subject matter is a member representing Etsako East constituency in the Edo State Youth Parliament. She doubles as the chairman House Committee on Legal Matters. She is no other person than Honorable Emanuela Odufa Masagbo. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Joshua.
Also representing the voices of children across the country is 16-year-old child rights advocate, a one-day ambassador of the Embassy of Sweden and the current speaker of the Nigerian Children's Parliament, Right Honorable Progress Friday Umo, who will be contributing virtually in the course of the program. You're welcome, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Joshua.
Let me start from the findings according to the survey carried out by UNICEF. What are these realities? There are girls aged 15 to 19 are twice as likely as boys to not be in schools, employment, or training. In fragile contexts, they are nearly 90% more likely to be out of school than girls in stable settings. Nearly 1 in 4 girls aged 15 to 19 who have ever been in a relationship have experienced intimate partner violence. 1 in 5 young women were married as children. In fragile settings, child marriage rates are almost double the global average. Crisis, conflict, and displacement all increase the risk of child marriage, sexual violence, and maternal mortality for girls. In the last 20 years, self-harm has been a leading cause of death among adolescent girls. I'll start with you, Honorable Masabo. Going by these statistics, with our country, Nigeria, not exempted, do you agree with the UNICEF?
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. Okay, I agree with what UNICEF has done, the statistics so far. That's because if you look at our present-day society, what can we see? We can see something similar to this. We can see child marriage. We can see out-of-school girls. We can see girls who are not even trained with one skill or the other. Yes, I agree with what UNICEF has come up with as a statistic of this year and what they've talked about how that a number of girls are actually out of school. It's very common in our society today. We see girls who should be in school between the ages of 15 and 19. Where are these girls? Some of them are on the streets. Some of them are helping their parents sell at the time where they should be in school and when their male counterparts are actually in school. What about child marriage? Child marriage is very, very, very common in our society. We know about what happened a while ago about a former Zamfara state governor who did what? He married a 13-year-old Egyptian. He came under public scrutiny about the child marriage, but what happened at the end? It was there was not enough evidence to prove that that was actually child marriage. But what are we saying? We are saying for the girl child, it is very prevalent that a lot of girls are out of school, that a lot of girls have been married at a very young age, between the age of 15 and 19. We are saying 15 and 19, but it even happens that younger than this, we have girls who have been married. Recently this year, we had UNICEF and other NGOs come together to help about 20 girls in Sokoto come out of a child marriage which was about to occur. So what are we saying? We are saying that this is the International Day of the Girl Child 2025, October 11th. That was when it was. The girl I am, the change I lead, girls are the front lines of crisis. It is very important that we see the need to help the girl child get education, help the girl child out of marriage, and other prevalent negativities that face the girl child. Thank you very much.
Very impressive. I'm still the Honorable Masabo. You're a potential legal practitioner, being a graduate of law, and by extension, the chairman, Committee on Legal Matters, Edo State Youth Parliament. Is there any legal or legislative framework to salvage the situation both locally and nationally, or perhaps the framework currently in use is no longer functional? Mark you, the 1999 Constitution Review is on the way.
Okay, thank you so much. We have different laws. We have different legal framework. We have the Criminal Code. We have the Constitution. We have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We have different laws to ensure that these children are protected, to ensure that there is not abuse, there are no abuse against the girl child or even the younger children. But it's one thing to have legislations and it's another thing to have implementation. So what I've seen so far is that there are legislations actually, both locally and nationally, but they have not been in implementation. So going forward, legislation doesn't just have to be made, but also to be implemented. Thank you very much. So
by extension, how best can you, or will I say, how can you gauge, how best can you describe the level of implementation? Because I know some state governments, that have been implementing, legislations as regards, early child marriage, child molestation, and what have you. How best can you, just a general view?
Okay, we had the Child Rights Act, which actually come into place in 2003. But up to today, there are still some states which have not implemented the Child Rights Act. So what are we saying? We are saying that this act doesn't just need to come into legislation, but actually implementation. Thank you very much.
Okay, before I come to you, Speaker Progress Umo, let's quickly take a report on the recent visit of the schoolgirls to the Speaker House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, where Speaker Abbas maintained the stance of the thanked assembly in ensuring that women representation and all-round well-being of girl child is of priority in the ongoing constitutional review in commemoration of the 2025 International Day of Girl Child. Here they are, from different ethnic backgrounds, representing millions of Nigerian girls seeking prominence in decision-making, having passed through a short mentorship workshop to lay down their submissions.
It reminds us of the urgency to listen, urgency to act, and urgency to create a world where girls themselves would have their realities as living possibilities and not as deferred dreams.
Could there be opportunities for selected girls across Nigeria to participate in legislative exchange programs, an initiative that would that would allow us to observe parliamentary sittings, engage with lawmakers, and build our leadership and policy capacity early.
The interaction continued with emphasis on women representation in the National Assembly, girl child participation in governance, as well as girl child safety.
We have come up with a bill called the Reserved Seats for Women, and the House, from its own side, has decided to even engage a lot of them as legislative aides to further acquire more training.
As an academic, Speaker Habas Tajuddin likewise touched vices bordering on tertiary education, early child marriages, child labor, and pedophilic tendencies in the society, alongside constituency interventions for younger generation.
So we will support this initiative of taking it to all the nooks and corners of the country, to all our tertiary institutions, that enough is enough on the issue of sexual harassment of female students, particularly by lecturers. Can remember, any member in every annual provision that does not include certain amount of money meant for training and empowering women and youth in his constituency.
The global theme for the day is Girl I Am, the change I lead before my time runs out. Now to you, Madam Speaker. There were a lot of concerns your delegation tabled before Speaker Abbas Tajuddin joined your advocacy visits to him. They range from education, child molestation, early child marriage, early child labor, inclusive governance, female participation in policy making, to current condition of the Chibok girls. And you in particular advocated, legislative exchange program. Do you see all of your requests playing out as answered prayers?
Thank you very much, Joshua. Honestly, I've seen signs of progress, and that gives me hope. When we visited Right Honorable Speaker Abbas Tajuddin, we weren't speaking for ourselves. We were echoing the crises and dreams of millions of Nigerian children who want safety, education, and opportunity. The Speaker's commitment to prioritizing women's representation and the well-being of the girl child in the ongoing constitution review shows that our advocacy is being heard at the highest levels. But beyond promises, what we need is continuity and accountability. For example, on the Chibok girls issue, it remains one of the most painful scars in our national memory. Some of those girls are still unaccounted for, and that means we can't afford to treat their story as history. We need renewed collaboration between security agencies, communities, and policymakers to ensure that every missing girl is found, rehabilitated, and reintegrated into society. The proposed legislative exchange program that I suggested will also create a bridge where young people like us can learn from lawmakers and bring in fresh perspectives to the governance. I believe that if our leaders continue to open these doors, our answered prayers will not just be dreams, they'll become policies that protect and empower the Nigerian child.
We now pause for some messages. The program returns shortly. Don't go away.
The voice of the people, the parliamentarian, the heartbeat of democracy. Know them, watch them, hold them accountable. Parliament for the people. Our parliament, our pride. Watch us on NTA Parliament, 370 DSTV, 126 Gold TV.
Do you know your representatives in the National Assembly? Do you know their duties, their promises, and their impact? It's time to bridge the gap between the people and their lawmakers. It's time to know your legislator. Know your legislator, a civic power in your hands, only on NTA Parliament. Join us every week as we bring your senators and representatives closer to you.
From the 36 states of Nigeria to the legislative chambers where laws are made, laws that shape healthy living, developmental strides and challenges. Do you know that your future begins and lies with your state legislature? Stay informed, stay educated, stay connected, and stay empowered. It is a weekly affair where we keep you abreast with legislative stories that matter. From the state assemblies, only on NTA Parliament. Join us via DSTV, GoTV, StarTimes, and free-to-air platforms. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
If you're just tuning in, the program is Young Parliamentarians showing on NTA Parliament. Abuja, you can kindly join the conversation on the social media platforms showing on your screen. I've been interacting with two distinguished young female legislators on the significance of this year's International Day of Girl Child in connection to the ongoing constitution review in Nigeria. Back to you, Speaker Umo. The proposed 87 alteration bills on the 1999 Constitution Amendment as presented during the recent national public hearing centered around 13 thematic areas. Which of this is more of concern to the Nigerian Children Parliament, considering Speaker Abbas's response to your prayers during the advocacy visit?
Thank you very much, Joshua. Today's conversation isn't just about celebrating girls. It's about confronting the barriers that still hold them back. The Nigerian girl deserves safety, education, and a voice that is heard, not hushed. And as young leaders, we'll keep pushing until every girl can stand tall in a country that values her dreams as much as her dignity. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Masagbo, despite the challenges girls face, your agenda is always ready to lead the way in calling for change, finding solutions, and demanding their rights. What are your legislative calls to action in line with the vision of international communities like the United Nations,
Okay, thank you so much. One of the Beijing Declaration focus was actually on girl child education. And so we call for legislation on girl child education. Girls need to be educated, despite their race, despite their financial capability, despite even if they come from poor homes. So there should be legislation to ensure that an average girl, one who is poor, from a poor home, can actually afford education. We also call for support for victims of violence, victims of sexual abuse. Although we have laws which prohibit against violence against persons, even children, but it is very important that these children, after being victims of probably sexual abuse, they have funds to help their lives. They have funds to ensure that their lives is not just miserable, but actually they can educate themselves. Actually, their lives does not go to its top just because they were abused. Thank you so much.
And what other points do you think can, government can work on, to make sure that the Child Rights Act and some other legislations, and more legislation, let me just put it this way, more legislations, are put in place to support girls?
Okay, I think that is very important that government, federal government, ensures that each state actually implements the Child Rights Act. Because if they do that, it's very important. Because the Child Rights Act also covers what? Child labor. It also covers what? Child marriage. So it is very important that State House of Assembly implements the Child Rights Act in each and every state, not just in some states. Thank you very much.
And your state in particular, what are you looking forward to doing, to support the government and to make sure that the rights of girl child and by extension, their male counterparts, is being, respected?
Okay, thank you very much. For Edo State Youth Parliament, over time, we've always been intentional when it comes to the girl child. We've been intentional when it comes to the youth and also the girl child. We've had numerous programs. We've had programs that actually relate to sharing pads, because yes, that's one issue with the girl child. Some cannot even afford basic sanitary pads to get every month. For the ladies, we know how much sanitary pad costs now. So that's one thing that as a parliament we've done so far. We've also advocated. Sometime this year we had a program, The Girl I Am, and a fierce lady. We invited our current House of Rep member, Barrister Omosede Igbinedion. And what did we do there? We talked to ladies. We organized a skill acquisition program where they learn various skills. And these skills, they don't just learn it, but later in life, it will help them get more finances to empower themselves. Thank you so much.
Okay. Back to you, Speaker Umo. In addition, I was mentioning the issues, raised during your visit to the Speaker. And I mentioned the current situation of the Chibok girls. Can you tell us, your concern about Chibok girls and the way forward?
They represent a promise unfulfilled. It's been over a decade, yet their absence still echoes in our national conscience. Every year we remember their names, but remembrance alone is not justice. Each missing girl is a reminder that when one child is unsafe, no child is truly free. The solution lies beyond military rescue missions. It must begin with prevention, protection, and integration. We need stronger intelligence collaboration, community-based vigilance, and psychosocial support systems that help survivors rebuild their dignity and future. But more importantly, Nigeria must prove that it has learned. We must build schools that are safe, create policies that are proactive, and nurture leaders who never treat the pain of children as background noise. I always say the fight for the Chibok girls is not about the past, it's about the kind of future we are willing to defend. And so, as long as one girl remains in captivity, our work as advocates, lawmakers, and citizens is not complete. Because until she comes home, Nigeria herself is not home.
What an electrifying crusade for the girl child. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with NTA Parliament Honorable Emmanuel Amasabo and Speaker Friday Umo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua, for having me.
Thank you very much, Joshua. It's truly a pleasure to be here. I am truly honored to lend my voice on such an important occasion, one that reminds the world that Nigerian girls are not invisible. She is a dreamer, she is a doer, and a leader redefining what's possible every single day. I'm so excited for this conversation.
This is where we call it a day on this episode of the program Young Parliamentarians. You can watch this episode and other programs on the online channels showing on your screen as we look forward to receiving your comments and observations. Join us on this same channel next time. Once again, I'm Joshua Oguchide. Thanks for watching and remain patriotic Nigerians. Bye for now.